Hello, and happy Friday. My name is Noah Wickham. I'm sales director here at My Amazon Guy, and we are going to be doing a live Q&A here like we do every single Friday. If you have any Amazon questions, e-commerce questions, or just really any questions in general, feel free to throw them in the chat now. I actually just got here about 30 seconds before the countdown, so we're running a little behind this morning, so we're going to try and get into it as quickly as possible. I'm sure I scared my back-end social team as they're telling me they had some mini heart attacks. So, all right, let's hop right in here. I'm going to open up some stuff real quick while we are also looking at some of these questions, guys. Let's go Javed first. Hi, Noah. Some campaigns are not getting orders or impressions, even though I pulled out last 60 days search term report and separately create keyword campaigns. Okay, with increased bids. So first and foremost, biggest thing that I will tell you with not getting any impressions, you are going to have one of two issues. So if you're ever doing PPC in general and you have no impressions going on some form of keyword, there's one of two things happening. Either one, your bid is not high enough, so you're literally just not able to compete in the slightest. So that's option number one. Option number two, super low search volume keyword. This happens pretty often, especially if you're doing like an exact match. Check to see what the actual search volume is for that keyword on exact match. I've seen it so often where people are like, I'm not getting any impressions and my bid is, $5 above what the cost per click should be. Right. And then, we go and look at it. It's an exact match and it has 50 search volume per month. So those are two really, really big ones. Now, the not getting orders aspect, that's a conversion aspect. So if you're getting impressions, you're getting clicks, and people are on the page, that means you need to update your product detail page. Make it so that your graphics really align with what the customer is wanting. And then secondarily, are you price competitive? If you're not price competitive with the market, you're not going to get many conversions or orders off of any terms. Also, make sure you're actually relevant with that term. I have seen some scenarios in the past where people essentially will put what they assume to be a super relevant keyword, and it just isn't, unfortunately. So it's something just to kind of consider there at the end of the day. And I will bounce off this real quick to say, if you guys see this right here, I suppose, this is click our QR code. We have a 2025 PPC guide that we have for free. If you click, go to the QR code, or if you go to, I think Gil, if you can put the website down below here and in the chat, we have there you go, FBA Seller Life Amazon PPC guide. It's our 2025 PPC guide. It's going to be great, especially for people like you, Javed, who are trying to understand a little bit more about PPC, what you need to do this year, and how you're going to scale and grow. So go and check those out. Now let's get some water first, guys. Bouncing all over the place this morning. All right, Thomas. Hi, how you doing? I'm doing great. I'm going to be selling a wooden baby high chair on Amazon in the next days. Based on the data and the listing under the baby high chair phrase, what would your PPC what would be your PPC budget? So I actually have some experience within this exact category of product because I've worked with actually a few different clients who have sold wooden baby high chairs. Now, what I will tell you is it depends on what your goal is. If you're just trying to break into the market and you don't have much to work with, I'm going to tell you that probably roughly $3,000 a month is going to be a decent starting line. Now, if you're trying to really be aggressive, I'm going to tell you, you need a very, very high budget. The wooden baby high chair is a high cost and high margin category is the best way to put it. And so therefore, the cost per click on a lot of the most crucial keywords is very high. So you're going to need to have a budget that can match that. You are not going to be taking over market share very quickly at anything below 5K a month when it comes to a starting budget. Now, if you don't have that to really work with, 5K or 3K, then realistically, what I would tell you is go after very long tail and go after very small competitors and do competitor marketing. Can do that type of stuff with a $1,000 to $1,500 budget a month. You're not going to get much sales velocity or volume, and you're not going to grow very quickly, but you definitely will be able to capture some of that market share, especially if you have a lower price point for conversion. So hope that kind of helps a little bit there. Please advise me on the campaign strategies for new launches. Thank you. Yeah, so I've talked about new launch campaign strategy every single week. What I will say, instead of full on answering that question this week, is I will say, check out the PPC guide, because we have an entire section on new product launch in there for PPC campaigns, how to set it up, what you should do there. So absolutely, instead of full just answering this here, check that out. I think that will be probably way more beneficial for you. It gives a lot of different details on it. So go and give that a little read. Viper, can you do wholesale on the same account you're doing any product you want on your Amazon account? There's no issues there whatsoever. I have seen an Amazon account with over 50 different brands attached to it, selling 50 different brands, some same products, some different products. It does not matter at the end of the day what you are selling under one Seller Central account. It actually used to be that Amazon would prefer you have one Seller Central account for everything that you were selling. Nowadays, people can have multiples depending on the brand and the business, etc. But yeah, absolutely, you can do wholesale and private label on the same account. Do I recommend Amazon wholesale? Yes. Surprisingly, I think that's a little bit of a hot take in this day and age. I will say this. I think the resale market on Amazon within the last 12 months is going down. The reason I say that is just from the aspect of a lot of the different, what's the best way to put it? A lot of the different regulation, I guess, and policies Amazon has around wholesale, resale type products. The biggest issue is people who are like primarily like Q4 resellers, right? I saw so many people coming in, even like this live chat, but also emailing me last Q4 talking about all of these different things. Their products were getting taken down. Product was being taken out of FBA, all this stuff, because people were selling, you know, like branded gated things like Lego, and they're selling toys and stuff like that. And they're creating their own listings, not under the brand name, to try and resell it during Q4. And it's like, do you sell throughout the rest of the year? No. Oh, okay. Well, yeah. You know, like you can't just try and essentially become a scalper and make a quick buck just during Q4. Amazon realistically doesn't like that. They do like wholesalers. I think it's something like 30% or so of the top 1,000 sellers on Amazon are resale accounts. So that's a big thing to keep note of. So wholesale in general, yeah, is still good. I like wholesale. I used to do wholesale quite a bit. I've done it from everything from just retail arbitrage all the way to actually having like wholesale contracts. I actually had a wholesale contract years and years ago with Apple for Apple refurbished and whatnot. That one, it was super hard to keep up with that though, because people would send it back not all the time, not knowing it's refurbished, and then it becomes a return and whole thing. Anyhow, let's do Viper next. Again, does MAG help with starting wholesale? We don't help with starting wholesale, so we're not into product research, which is fine. I mean, we do product research for like active brands. So let's say you have a brand right now and you are looking for new products, right? It's always easy to do that because you can look at competitors, what they're selling. You can look at other products that are adjacent to your niche, to your brand. And so we absolutely do that. But from like a wholesale research thing, no, it's not really our jive. It's not really what we do at the end of the day. And it's also become so much more difficult now, just because the only true way that I would suggest people do wholesale in this day and age would be to get resale contracts. You know, even as recent as like 2-3 years ago, you could do wholesale just from purchasing like from, you know, wholesale networks. So things like even something like Costco, right? Without needing anything like that. Or what's some other ones? Like iHerb was a really big one for that. You know, a lot of these different sites and everything, and you could sell it on Amazon for a profit. That's become oversaturated. So nowadays you realistically do need like an actual wholesale contract where you negotiate pricing and then, you know, you purchase in bulk from people and whatnot. So we do wholesale right now under the Age of Sage account, which I could probably show that actually now I think about it. But yeah, we do wholesale under the Age of Sage account. We do all sorts of different products and everything. I mean, if I'm just looking through right now, there's like a gel moisturizer, there's 9-volt batteries, uh, there's an age corrective cream, youth serum, glassware. So we do all sorts of things from a wholesale perspective under the age of sage count now, which has done exceptionally well in the last year. But the best way to do it is either essentially get your wholesale contract with an actual distributor, or you can go the route of going to like liquidation events, right, where people are selling entire pallets of one type of good at any given time. Like that's usually the actual best way to go about it. All right, let's see here. Let's go to Asif. Hello, sir. How are you and your family doing? Hope everything is going well. It's going really well. It's been super cold here this week. It's been snowing like crazy, and it's been super, super cold this week. But we are healthy and happy. If a product is not converting, even though it is targeting relevant keywords, what should we do to improve the conversion rate? Where should we focus to optimize the campaign effectively? All right. So conversion again, and I think I said this a couple of minutes ago. Conversion comes from two different places. Place number one is product detail page. Are your images selling your product correctly, right? Do you actually talk about what your product does? Is it, correct information that the end consumer is looking for? Great place to understand that is from reviews. If you have any negative reviews, see why, correct your product detail page for it. Make your product detail page sell the product for you. That's what it's there for. Secondarily, price. Price is a huge factor in conversion. So if you have, let's say, a lot of competitors that are half your price, it's going to be really hard to continue converting. So the best thing to do in that capacity is start to try and see if there are certain long tail type keywords, even low search volume relevancy, where you can just build up a small catalog of orders where the competitors typically aren't actually advertising. If we receive a lot of single or two clicks on keywords in search terms, but they don't convert, should we negate those search terms immediately, or should we wait for more data before deciding? I am a big believer in negate early and often. Essentially, what I mean by that is, if you see something and it looks like it's just costing you money, negate it. That being said, 2 clicks, a single click, a little early. I would typically want to wait and give it a few days. I usually give it about a week time frame before I say that this is something that needs to be negated, because it's just wasting money. So that's usually what I'm gonna go with, is rather more of a time frame. Let's see, Asif again. How should we handle such search terms to optimize the campaign effectively? Yeah, negation is the biggest thing there, right? Secondarily, I mean, if you really want to, you can always throw search terms that you negate on campaigns into like a very, very, very low bid auto campaign. Well, I guess technically on auto campaign, it's essentially create your own version of an auto campaign, quote unquote, by taking just tons and tons and tons of keywords and doing just a broad match on them and do super, super, super low bid. What I mean by that is like 2 cents, 3 cents, like something you're not going to get anything on. I've seen some use cases for it, but it's not something that you have to do by any means. But if outside of that, negation is the easiest way to go with this, which I would always do negation regardless. Let's see. Argeus, I've been selling a product with 3 variations for 5 years. Amazon changed the product type, one of them, so I couldn't fix, even did delisting and upload via file as seller central required advice. I gotta read that again. I've been selling product with 3 variations, 5 years. Amazon changed product type, one of them, so I couldn't even fix. Did delisting. Oh, delete relist. Okay, and upload via file as seller central required advice. So what's the actual issue? Change product type of one of them, so I couldn't fix. So first and foremost, I would ask, what did they change the product type to? I'm a little confused on what you mean by that. Do you mean like category? There's an entire chance Amazon deletes your category. Secondarily, The only thing you can do with a category change is just change it back yourself and hope Amazon doesn't change it again. A lot of times this happens because people are buying similar products in that category to your product in your category. And something you can always do is check like market basket analysis, see if people are purchasing products from that category alongside your product. And they could be niche similar products. That's usually the case in situations like this. Let's see here. Viper. I finally got Viper. I am so glad that you finally got into Career Connections, considering the fact that it's been, about a year since you were initially asking about it and asking for advice on how to get in. And I continuously gave that advice. And so I am glad that it finally happened for you. That's pretty funny. It finally comes around, I suppose. How can I make an effective Career Connections campaign? All right. So an effective Career Connections campaign. There's a few key elements to this. And I will tell you, first and foremost, your first campaign, probably not going to do anything, which sounds awful, Viper. I know you spent a year trying to get into it, but it's going to take a while. Now, rather than, an effective campaign, here's some tips I'm going to tell you. First tip, first and foremost, budget. People, for some reason, have this idea with Career Connections that they should only do like a $10,000 budget or, $50,000 budget, whatever. Make your budget $1 billion. There's two reasons behind this. Reason number one is that if you are going to be doing, let's say, 10 to 15% affiliate, who cares how much you're getting for that, right? So if you end up paying 10 to 15% affiliate up to $1 billion, are you going to be upset that you sold $1 billion through this, right? Like over $1 billion, I should say. So that's why, first and foremost, budget does not matter as long as you are okay with, in perpetuity having that 10 to 15%. Now, secondarily, on the creator connection side, for the actual creators, the way that looking at campaigns is set up is twofold. One, newest campaigns, and then also two, highest budget for longest period of time campaigns. So when you're creating your campaign, the thing that you should do is think about it this way. Why would a creator spend the time to be a part of a campaign that only has, let's say, $10,000 budget, meaning the most that they can make off of this in perpetuity is $10,000, versus the campaign that the most they could make off of it is $1 billion, right? So the idea there is essentially higher budget means more likely to get people interested because there is no cap to what they can make from connecting on this and doing this. That's really a key factor here when you're looking at budget. Now, number two here comes down to invite, yes, really, really big brands. So think about all of the creators that are a list creator. Think about all of the websites that create lists, CNN, do every single one of those really big ones, but then don't do more than, I would say, 30 of those, 30% of your total allotment, for those. The rest of them should be very, very niche to your category type creators on the Career Connection side. Those are really the two big things to think about. Always think about how you're doing your Career Connection campaign from the mind of a creator, essentially. What's the point at the end of the day of working with somebody who you're only making 10% commission, 5% commission on every single sale, and it's a $10 product, right? So you're making whatever it is, 50 cents a unit or something like that. So higher ticket items always will do better, first and foremost, and then that's just some things to keep in mind. Mark, after you do a gold panning campaign and identify/create a campaign for top keywords, are you taking those keywords out of your gold campaign or leaving them? I've heard mixed opinions on this. I usually take them out. It's mixed opinions. It's a 50-50 realistically. Sorry, I had to get some water in me. Okay. It's a 50-50 realistically. The purpose of leaving it in would be the idea that if it's already done well in that gold campaign or gold panning campaign, mix up my words, say, if it's already done well there, then it is likely to continue doing well, right? And you don't want to necessarily take it out if it is doing well because it could continue doing well at a super low ACOS. On the counter flip side of this, I like taking out, or at the very least, turning it down a little bit on the gold paying side when I take or create its own campaign, because then that gives the actual campaign as much leg room as possible, right? So it really depends on what your overall goal is at the end of the day. I even am mixed depending on the situation, but what I would typically say is turn it off, at least for a short time, is my personal preference for it. Let's see here. Here we go. eBay seller is selling one of our hero products at a very low price. Oof. We have trademark and brand registry on Amazon. eBay seller is selling for the last 2 years. How do you advise handling this? Thanks. So here's what I'll tell you. eBay has probably one of the best, what is it? eBay brand protection, I think. I forgot what it's called. eBay verified rights owner program. So let me share my screen here just so you can see this decline. So I would look this up. Oh, I don't even have my screen shared. I switched over. There we go. All right. So I would look up the eBay verified rights owner program. It's VeRO right down here. So what is VeRO? This is what you're going to want to do and submit towards Aragorn. I guess that's how you say your name. This is a super, super good program. This is a way better program than Brand Registry ever wishes it could be, because VeRO actually takes down listings constantly. They are fantastic about it. The difference being it's a lot harder to get into touch with them, but they have a form that you will fill out on all of this. So when you go through the VeRO policy, you can go over here and go into the VeRO policy, and then they have the reporting intellectual. So absolutely go through that. If you're having issues with someone and you don't want them selling, then yeah, that's going to be your best thing. VeRO is so much better, in my opinion, than Amazon's brand registry as far as taking down listings. I feel like brand registry a lot of times is hit or miss, especially if with like hijackers and like fake products and things like that. Whereas eBay doesn't care. If you own the brand and you own the product and you can prove that, they'll take it down. Roichi. I have variations under a parent. They have been on the same campaigns when doing my PPC. However, one was always the hero. Is that due to people wanting it more and algorithm pushes the green more? Yeah, technically. So if people want one specific variation more, that's what we consider to be a hero product within a variation, right? Ooh. Excuse me, guys. That hero product, yeah, on the campaigns always does better. What I will tell you from a PPC perspective is if you have a hero product in your PPC and it just eats up majority of the budget, it does the best. I'm always going to suggest let's take that product, keep it in the campaign. It's doing really well. Turn off the other products and put them in their own campaign. This gives a little bit better chance for those products that aren't the hero product to actually get some traction. Can be the exact same campaign, but you're essentially just marketing it different. So that's what I'll typically kind of suggest for people in situations like this. But yeah, realistically, it's both a matter of your BSR is likely higher and your ranking on keywords is likely higher on the green because it's done more sales volume, while simultaneously, yes, people might want it more. If I want my variants to rank, do they have a better chance of selling and ranking if I create separate campaign for each, or will they? Yeah, so exactly what I just said, Roichi. Actually, this applies directly to what I was just kind of talking about there. What budget would you recommend for starting wholesale? You can't start wholesale, and I mean, you can start wholesale, quote unquote, with a super small budget if you find the right product, right? So it depends on what you're going after. You can't start wholesale with $500 if you want to wholesale, I don't know, Keurigs, right? So if you're trying to wholesale Keurigs, you can't do that with $500. No. That being said, if you're wholesaling computer dusting kits or whatever, which I don't know why you would, because Chinese sellers dominate this category. But if you were wholesaling this, you probably could start at $500. So it depends on what the product you're going after. Realistically, if you don't have more than 20, or if you have less than 2,500 to 5K to start with, it's just not going to be worth it. Realistically speaking, 10K is where I would probably start if I was going to do like full on wholesaling business. With low price products, example, Age of Sage product that sells for $7.99. How do you strategize PPC launch strategy when your percent margin might be high, but your dollar margin is small relative to the cost per click? Ooh, this is actually kind of interesting. So here's the first and foremost thing I will tell you. There is no easier way to scale on Amazon than if you are someone who is willing to lose money for the first 6 months. It sounds awful to say that, but I have worked with many sellers that have gone from starting their brand to being ranked top 10 within 12 months in extremely highly competitive categories, solely because for the first 6 months, they were fine being in the red. And that's the first thing to consider. Now, not everyone can do that. Not everyone is comfortable with that. That's fine. What I would typically say is it comes down to your keyword choice. So you talk about, for instance, the high cost per click with the margins. That's only true if you're going after extremely high volume, high relevancy keywords. You really have to change your strategy for super low volume stuff if you're not looking to break even at the very least, even to much lower search volume, much I wouldn't say less relevant, but much lower relevancy keywords and much more niche keywords. That's really the only way you can do low cost products, something that sells for $5, and also have a really high conversion rate. That's really what that comes down to. And that's really the best thing about it is the conversion rate. So really make sure if you are going into a category with super low margins, which I personally hate low margin products. Well, I hate's a strong word, but I just don't like doing them because exactly what you're talking about. It's a lot more difficult. You have to be so on the nose with where you're at as far as your spend goes. So yeah, that's kind of the general premise there, Mark. Viper again. I asked for a bin check and they said they needed to wait until receiving is complete. I'm pretty sure either they put the pink variation with the blue or the product isn't labeled correctly. Yeah. So I think, this reference last week, Viper, what we were kind of talking about. Yeah. Unfortunate. It's just something you're going to have to deal with. It's not something you can really push on outside of just continuing to ask for that bin check, which that'll just take time. And the unfortunate thing you could, or I guess not the unfortunate, the thing you could do here, Viper, is again, you could ask and say, hey, I'd like to either have all of this inventory returned to me or, would like to have it disposed and try and get ahead of it. Is that going to work for you? It's up in the air. It could just take a long time and it's really probably going to hurt your sales volume. So I would just keep an eye out on your reviews. If people are purchasing the color you think they're purchasing, and if they say they got the wrong color and your returns shoot up. So things to just keep in mind. What can I do to get them checked quickly? Yeah, so exactly what I was just saying. I saw this on my managed campaign. Does this mean I can now use Amazon ads on other sites like my website? So yeah, the sponsored product campaigns. Yeah. So I actually made a post a couple weeks back when I saw this, but yeah, you can, you have to essentially create a new listing, or you create a listing on that website, and then you create sponsored campaigns through Amazon's advertising for that website. And then people check out. The entire process happens on the site as well. So if you have access to it, try it out. It's kind of cool. I would like to see more sites on there because the ones they have right now are kind of up in the air, So Other retailers' websites. Yep. So, oh, here's the second part. When I click it, didn't see where I would enter the URL, and I want the ads to apply to. What is the new thing and how do you do it? Yeah, so you have to, again, you have to create that listing. So that's how you have to essentially go about it. I'll put out I don't think anyone's put out a video about it yet. So I'll put out a tutorial video probably next week going over it with you just to kind of show people how they're supposed to do it. So people can actually see it and start doing it. Let's see here. Right. Does engaging with product listing contents help the algorithm? Depends on what you mean by contents. I mean, click-through rate, that helps the algorithm. Conversion rate, that helps the algorithm. Sales helps the algorithm. But if you're just talking like someone clicking through your A+ content, probably not. I mean, maybe. And if it does, it's so minimal, it doesn't matter. Thank you. No problem. Diamond Super Service. Okay. Hi. Is the category of bags/wallets profitable? Well, I would have to imagine the answer there is yes. Otherwise, people wouldn't sell those products. I think what you're actually asking here is, does it seem like those are good categories to get into? What I will say is wallets, I don't know. Maybe not. I bet that's a very, very, very saturated market. If I had to guess, that 90% of sales go to one or two different sellers. As far as bags, I know that's a super saturated market because I think it was Jungle Scout maybe or somebody else came out with their 2024 report of different categories and like the sizing, new sellers in certain categories, etc. Maybe it was Smart Scout. I'll have to check. Either way, one of those people came out with their 2024 report and bags, luggage, etc. That blew up last year. People love that category for some reason. So even though it's something like 95% of market share is owned by like 5 sellers on it. So either way. Mark, last week in your stream, I saw a question about campaign performance. You mentioned you can cannibalize organic with paid. Can you explain this further? Yeah, let me do this. Let me open up Amazon, see if I can just find an example of this. Let's see. Ooh, this is interesting. Gonna take a picture of this for later. Sorry, guys. Something a little thing just popped up. And I was kind of interested in it. Let's do this. So if we type in balloons, I bet one of these is going to be a top seller, and it is. So here we go. Oh, I'm still on this thing. So here's a great example of what I'm talking about, Mark, where we have a sponsored here, which is, an advertisement against the keywords of balloons. We also have a sponsored brand here. So we have a sponsored product here, but they're also organically ranked second for the keyword balloons. This is what I'm talking about. Essentially, that you're paid. If somebody types in balloons, they have a much higher chance of clicking one of these, before they click this, right? There's a lot of chances there for people to click on the paid before they click the organic. So that's where I kind of say that you can cannibalize yourself a little bit. See, I don't understand what it means that the budget needs to be $5,000 on Creator Connection, but max paid out is $5,000. What is money of minimum budget of 5,000 go towards when max of 5,000 for commission? What is min referring to? So confused. I would have to look at it. I wonder if this account has Creator Connections. So I'm not exactly positive what you are looking at. And of course, this account doesn't have Creator Connections. Let me try and log into one. But from my remembrance of looking at Creator Connections before, what I would probably tell you here Roichi, is that the thing to think about is your budget is the max amount that you can look at. The min set, so you say here essentially the needs to be $5,000 on. Oh, okay. So now I know what you're talking about. Okay, so minimum budget. You cannot create a creator connections campaign that has a budget of less than $5,000. Essentially, they are saying that you have to have a campaign that has a minimum payout of $5,000. Now, does that mean you are paying out $5,000? No, it does not. It means that you cannot create a campaign where the max amount that you will pay out is less than $5,000. That's essentially what it's saying. So that minimum budget of $5,000 is saying that is the minimum allotment that you are allowed to put for creating campaigns. So you can't say I'm going to create a campaign of $500, and I also don't know why you would, to be fair, and launch that. There's no purpose behind it, right? So that's what that's saying. Trends culture. If I reach my budget PPC campaign, you recommend me to turn off. This is hurting. If I reach my budget PPC campaign, you recommend me to turn off to next month and launch it again, or know some hacks? I don't know exactly what you're meaning. If you reach your budget, I would recommend you increase your budget, unless you're just not getting any conversions off it. So a budget should only be in place to stop you from having bad spend happen. But if you just are limiting yourself when you are getting good conversions and you are getting good impressions and clicks on your products and your keywords, and you have a budget in place just because you don't want to spend more than that, you're just essentially limiting yourself. I don't know why you would. A budget should be in place only to limit gross overexpenditure, essentially. Thomas, thank you so much for the help. Since you have worked with Win High Chairs, can you give me another tip to take into consideration for my launch and to differentiate from competition? Thank you. Also, in terms of inventory, how many units do you recommend start with? I have 500. 500 would be great. Honestly, Thomas, that's a great number to start with. I love between 250, 500 for most product launches. That being said, another tip I will give you for the category. This day and age, there are a lot of Chinese sellers in the category. They primarily are doing like plasterboard type wood. They really suck as far as a product. Secondarily, you likely are going to have to get child product certification certificates if you haven't already. That's going to happen real fast because you are selling something that's for children. It's going to take some time. It's going to take some money and effort. If you haven't started the process of doing that, start it earlier than later, because once Amazon requires it, they're going to take you down and you don't want to lose steam going full steam ahead. So make sure you have those certificates, the certifications. They're all good. Chinese sellers are rampant. Don't try and compete too hard with them. If your price is just out of the league of theirs, you're not going after the same demographic. And then finally, sponsor brand, sponsor display works amazing for this category. Let's see here. Please make a practical video for DSP. I can make a video for DSP. I think that would be a really good idea. We do DSP in-house for anybody who doesn't know. It's a great service. I am real big on the DSP these days. I think DSP is excellent for most people. And yeah, so absolutely, if you're somebody who wants DSP, check us out. But I think it works. I typically am going to recommend that like minimum $7,500 a month for DSP. When I create their own campaign, okay. When I create their own campaigns, do I use same keywords or should I use keywords with different functions? This product has ranking in more keywords organically. Will it cost more money this way by having separate campaigns? Yeah, it's going to cost more money, but yes, I would create your own campaigns with those keywords. It's going to cost more money. I would start by just having that hero keyword and product in there. And then I would create one where you take everything out, put it in another campaign. You then get to see of those, which is the next best one. Take all the others out, put them in another. And now you have 2 campaigns with hero keywords and then one itself. So just keep doing that until you essentially have it, if that makes sense. Mark, cool. Thank you for the answers. No problem. Abdul, what should I do if my inventory went missing at the time of inbound and transit? Unfortunately, you have to wait. So until Amazon actually gives you more information on it and it goes past their inbound time frame, if you have the information to show that it arrived at their facility from the carrier, that's fantastic. That'll help you a lot here. But Amazon realistically really usually makes you wait until a certain time frame to get any of that. So it's unfortunate really that they do that, but there's not a lot you can do until somebody says, hey, here it is. We got a bunch of stuff going on. Eugene, $5. Thanks, sir. I'm the brand owner and some listings state I need brand approval. Why? Because somebody is trying to hijack your brand registry, or you're not currently the owner of your brand registry. That would be the primary thing. So I would very much make sure you check it first and foremost if you're a brand owner. Secondarily, if somebody is trying to hijack it, you need to talk to brand registry immediately and seller support at the same time. Figure out what the issue is. Now, that being said, it sounds more like somebody else might have registered your brand, or for instance, somebody else is selling your brand. A lot of context missing here, Eugene. If you can give some more, I'd love to help you out, because I hate situations like this for people. Tim Z's, thanks for the $2.99. I don't see, he does have a question. Here we go. I have a competitor that stole my images and photoshopped their logo. Any advice? Oof. Yeah, so you can technically in these scenarios try and report them for copyright infringement. It's not easy here, Tim. Unfortunately, you're not going to get a lot of progress here. But you can report them for copyright infringement, and then I would also go through and report them via brand registry for IP infringement. So the images should theoretically still fall under IP infringement, and I've seen it work a lot better through that capacity, but it's by no means a sure shot of getting it undone. The biggest thing to note here is that technically they are breaking copyright and they're breaking IP. So you have that at your ability, but it's going to probably take a couple of different times of you reporting them and then also submitting those tickets to get them actually taken down. I would also, secondarily to this, purchase one of their products from the listing to verify that they aren't just taking your product and selling it to other people. Viper with the $20. Thank you. I appreciate you. My goal is long-term growth. With the strategy is sell at a loss be the strategy I follow to be at the top and eventually gain profit. Also, how much in sales do I need to do for you to be my brand director? Unfortunately, I am not a brand director in this day and age anymore. I am a sales director. I know. It took away from the operational path to go down our sales path for a little while here. That being said, what I will tell you is I frequently give many strategies to our brand directors or brand managers and the entire team because I love doing it. So I very much would say there are plenty of qualified people within our company, and you can always call on me if you are one of our current clients, Viper, to help out at the end of the day. So that being said, let's talk about the long-term growth strategy there. With strategy, so to eventually gain profit, yes, you can. It's something you need to be mindful in how you go about doing it. Now, the big thing to note here is no matter what, if that is your goal, Viper, you still at the end of the day need to be very price conscious. So you can't assume that you can be at 50% of your price for 6 months and then get really high in the ranking and beat all competitors, and then also double your price to be way higher than competitors. You will destroy and tank your sales velocity. So what I'm going to recommend to you is if you have an already super price competitive product, that you could drop down a couple of dollars and then also push heavy ad spend into for 6 months and be fine with, either breaking even or being in the red, it is the best strategy possible to do. The larger of an ad budget you have, the better, because your goal here is to just dominate as much as possible for a short period of time to gain as much ranking as quickly as possible to then boost yourself into some organic. And that's going to be essentially where you start gaining profit. So if you're fine with it, it's a great strategy. It is something I have implemented myself. I've implemented on other categories. It's actually like the top category that I would recommend for, or not category, strategy I would recommend for any supplement launch, just because supplements is such a competitive category that in this day and age, it's next to the only way you're ever going to really scale in the category. So all that. And again, sorry, I can't be your brand director. I'm always happy to help here. I'm always happy to help any of our clients internally who want it. Let's see. Where was I before this? Mark already did that one. I'm hoping somebody on my back end can help me here because I've just lost. I'm lost. Let's see. That it? Is Spidey it? Wait, I don't think I did R&B. Thank you, team. Our team created 2 identical listings, sent in inventory, made sales. As a result, both listings now have product reviews. Cool. Is it possible to merge the 2 listings and combine the reviews? Technically, yes. You have to talk to seller support. You might run into a couple of hiccups here, but yeah, just talk to seller support and ask them to do a listing merge. You have to give good reason for it. So just, you can let them know that you accidentally created them or anything like that. But if it truly is identical product, they should be able to merge it pretty easily for you. Just make sure you choose just one of the UPCs. Spidey, hi. I can't able to remove negative customer reviews. They're breaking guidelines of Amazon, like return, replacement, or price comment. Or not related to the product. Also, I raise case on customer care and mail to community mail they have given. I can't remove negative because, yeah. So here's the thing that I'll tell you. If you can't remove a negative review from a product or from your anything, and you have brought it up to Amazon, it does not break guidelines. Amazon has removed customer reviews, negative ones that are not appropriate towards products, or it breaks guidelines for well over a decade now. Well, actually, probably not. Close to a decade now. God, it really has been close to a decade. Anyways, I'm old. The purpose there essentially is if it doesn't break guidelines, Amazon knows it doesn't break guidelines. If you think it breaks guidelines, I'd question what exactly it's breaking. If you could, send the review, send a link, anything, I'd be happy to look at. But realistically, probably doesn't break guidelines, even if you think it does. Reviews matter. I know you can sell without a lot of reviews, but there is a big sale discrepancy between 20 reviews, 4.6 to a 4.6 1,000 reviews. Is it because they have the sales, the reviews go up? Or is it because they gained the reviews, sales come easier? Is it the chicken or the egg, or should the goal be to just push ads for sales? Are there review thresholds where there are noticeable sale jumps, 4.5, 100, 1,000? Yes, actually. So chicken or egg. Here's what I'll say on reviews. Reviews don't matter if you have like under 100 at all. Under 100, realistic reviews don't matter. The difference between having a 4.5 review at 50 and having it at 5 and having it at 75 does not matter in the slightest. The time in which you will see actionable sales increase from reviews is about 500. Over 500, and this is, I should say, parent level, single ASIN, anything like that. 500 is about the mark in which it really does start to kind of matter, especially what that actual ranking is. The reason also for that is it becomes increasingly more difficult to change your actual star rating past 500. So anything below 500, it's a lot easier to do. But anything above 500, it starts to get harder and harder. But just it's a game of numbers at the end of the day, right? So once you're around 500, you're essentially kind of locked in unless you get a huge review bomb. So that's kind of the thing there. You will see some sales upsides, but realistically, it's one thing I always tell people: if you have a parentage that has like 1,000 reviews, and one of those products is 200 reviews and another is 800, don't unparent it, because the 200 one will tank comparatively to the 800 one, which the 800 one will do great. Spidey, 2, how can I check the keyword is indexed or not? Also, please recommend best way to get keyword indexed on first page organic. So how to get something, well, first off, it's on first page organic, it's ranked, not indexed. Ranking, anything 500 and below. Indexing, 500 above. Now that we're past that, check Helium. Helium 10 has a keyword index tracker. That's the easiest way to check any product to see if you're indexed for any type of keyword. The best way to get ranking on first page, sales. There's nothing else. We actually have a graphic if you guys haven't seen it. Let me see if I can share this. I don't know if I can actually share this. Here we go. We have a graphic for SEO Factors 2025. Check this out. It makes a lot of sense. Organic sales is up this year. I think it's a big thing. Organic sales is huge this year. Click-through rate still huge. Conversion rate down a little bit. PPC sales up a ton. I think PPC matters a ton more this year than it did in the past. And then 11%, 180 days. So take a look at this. This is what matters for getting first page organic ranking. Nothing else. Didn't know there would be a part. There would be a 3-part. Oh, because of your previous one. Okay. Mark, do you have any experience advice with SDS document submission for hazmat listings? Yes. So, biggest thing I can tell you is, one, make sure you do not submit any forgery. It is imperative in this day and age you don't do that. Amazon checks that type of stuff, can get your listing just taken down entirely, get your account shut down. Do not submit any form of forgery. Do not submit any documents that have been altered, etc. Secondarily to that, the big thing to note is just make sure you go through an actual compliance facility. Don't take SDS at face value. If you go and get it from a manufacturer, you should always go and get it yourself. Manufacturers, who knows what they're getting and who knows where they're getting it from. So always get your own SDS, always get your own certification and testing. Let's see here. We got a bunch more questions. Good. We got a couple more questions here, guys. I am probably going to call it a little early today, guys, probably around 1 rather than 1:15 or 1:30. I got a couple of things got to get to. Ali, how we can remove Me Too listings from registered brand listing on Amazon? Are you asking how you can remove listings from being registered under a brand? Technically speaking, you have to do that through brand registry. So you have to go to your brand registry and you have to remove it from the actual brand registry. I would question why. If you're just trying to do like a brand name change, you have to have another brand name and you have to go through brand registry and you have to submit for a brand name change. It's an entire different process. So I would ask the question why, like what your end goal here is first and foremost, but you can always do this through brand registry if you want something no longer attached to a brand. Hi, Noah. I'm a brand owner and creator of a high-selling product in the US, currently expanding into AU market. I found out there's another seller who filed a trademark in AU before me and claimed brand owner rights in AU and is now selling counterfeits. Is there a way I can remove them from being the brand owner in AU? I filed trademark in AU. Not that it will probably, or it probably won't be approved because the other seller already has trademark in AU. Thank you so much. This is a tricky situation. Unfortunately, Misha, this is going to be a realm in which likely you are not going to win on Amazon. And what I mean by that is the exact situation you are falling into is leaving the realm of Amazon problem and entering the realm of actual legal business discourse. Essentially, if someone has trademarked your product in another country, they are selling the exact same product in that country under your trademark name in that other country. That can be a form of counterfeiting. That can be a form of fraud. My best advice here, and I am no lawyer. This is just personal advice. I would say you got to take a legal route with this. You're not going to be able to get anything done on the Amazon side without a brand registry, without trademark. You're not going to be able to go through Apex. You're not going to be able to do anything. This is fully a legal discourse battle. Get a lawyer, ask them. That would be my best advice to you. This bit out of the depth of being able to do anything on Amazon, just because Amazon does not have the tools readily available to handle such a situation, unfortunately. Viper, I got my item back from CPC limbo. I lowered the price and got my top 10 rank, but it doesn't say how many were sold in a month. Do I get that back as it's removed since they took the listing down? If you're talking about on the search bar thing, yeah, that's an entirely Amazon thing. So that would just come in time with you getting more and more sales on the product. That's essentially all that happens there. Eugene, will the Chinese sellers and U.S. sellers that order through China be affected with the tariffs? Yes. So Eugene, I posted a video on our YouTube channel on Monday going over this exact thing. I would go give that a watch. It's a great video. I go really in depth on a lot of my research for this as well. I have a couple other videos talking about this exact thing, as well as some other factors with, the new presidency and what, we should be looking out for as sellers on the platform. So be on the lookout for those. If you're not subscribed, subscribe to our channel. And yeah, I'm going to give a lot of info here and a lot of depth to how to kind of prevent yourself from having a bad time with anything such as tariffs and how to, position yourself. I think Chinese sellers personally are going to get decimated on Amazon's platform over the next year or so, but we'll see, I suppose. Are Amazon automation services scams? If they know the secret, why don't they sell themselves? So here's what I'll tell you. As someone who has both fallen victim, tried to be a part of, and also failed at, and also sold a million times, yeah, probably most of them are. I know people in the industry still who do them. Most entirely are. Now, there are some out there that aren't necessarily, and more so they just go bad, or they just, it doesn't work for them. It's entirely possible that it's one, two, or three, or the other, right? It depends on every single company. What I will tell you is if you want to do well on Amazon at this point in time, realistically speaking, work with a very, very, very reputable company. Make sure to do due diligence, make sure to get some references, make sure to do everything. I mean, realistically, for instance, we have a million case studies up. We're not automation by any means, I should say. We're an agency, but there are good automations out there. It's just very hard to come by, and they're usually really expensive. They usually charge monthly retainer, rather, like the good ones, I should say, charge monthly and rev split rather than ones that charge an upfront fee. So, yes, please. Would love to see that video. You got it, Roichi. I will do one on some DSP. All right. Hi, Assad here. Can you please make a practical video regarding PPC? Yeah, we have a ton of practical videos. Just check our YouTube channel. We have a million of them. Let's see. Best way to gather good reviews on a new listing. Have a automation go out for FBA reviews. Secondarily to that as well, go through the process of Go through the process of essentially creating a product insert, request review, everything in between them. It's a timing thing and a sales velocity thing more than anything. All right, guys. Doesn't look like there's really. I guess there's one more. Here we go. Ali again. One other seller attached with my listing, so I want to remove that seller from my brand listing. Oh, okay. So I would report the seller, Ali. That's the best way to go about it. But if they're selling your actual product, you can't do anything about that. So unfortunate. So, all right, guys, I am going to call it there. A little bit earlier, a little bit quicker of a show today. That being said, I appreciate everyone stopping in today, asking your questions. For a little breakdown, we are My Amazon Guy. We are a full service Amazon agency. Why can't I share my screen? We are a there we go. We are a full service Amazon agency. We do everything on Amazon A to Z. Myself personally, my name is Noah Wickham. I am our sales director here. So if you guys are interested in working with us, feel free to reach out to me anytime. I'm always happy to talk through any possible situation with sellers whatsoever that they could potentially need some help with. We work with right now roughly 400 different brands, about 1,500 per year, and manage about 1.2 billion in annual revenue. So check us out. We're always happy to help. Secondarily, check us out on YouTube. If you aren't watching this on there or anything, check us out. We're posting daily content over there. On top of that, check us out on LinkedIn. Check myself out. I post daily content and news on LinkedIn. So if you want to stay on top of everything possible Amazon related, check me out on LinkedIn. And past that, we'll be back next Friday. And hope everyone has a great weekend and a great week ahead. See everybody.